be prepared, and we've been telling you guys that all morning long. Taking a look at this video that we shot earlier, driving around Bradenton. This was just about 4 hours ago, where we saw a lot of homes boarded up. People are taking this seriously. It seems there weren't too many people out on the roads. A lot of homes really boarded up, especially for an area that is expected to get that first hit, that landfall of Hurricane Milton. Now, this is a very scary situation, and coming back out here live, I want to speak on something as a reporter who came from another Nexstar station over in the panhandle of Florida. I've been speaking with my old people that I used to work with over there, my coworkers. They had a Category 5 hurricane hit them in 2018. Now, it was unexpected to be Category 5, but at the last second it changed. It totally destroyed everything, changed everything. 2 years later when I arrived, Hurricane Michael was mentioned every single day at that station, because this is such a serious thing. People could wake up tomorrow and not recognize the areas around them, the things that they love, the towns that they love. So they really need to just heed these warnings, because what's most important here is their lives. Again, we have all the information on our website, WFLA.com. We'll continue to update and continue to update you here on air as well. Guys.
Very, very true, yeah. Chloe, thank you so much.
Could be a life-changing storm for sure. Pinellas County opened up more shelters today as the storm approaches. Officials
sharing this latest update in a press conference earlier today. Lenny Supal has been following the developments there, joining us now live in Pinellas County. And I see the rain coming down there, Lenny.
It is intense. The rain, the wind, so much intensity here in South Pasadena. As for those 3 new shelters, they are located in Palm Harbor Middle in North County, as well as New Heights Elementary and Fairmount Elementary, both in St. Pete. But I want to whip you around here so you can see the conditions on the water. It is incredibly choppy, and the storm surge is going to be a problem. We can still see Helene's mark very visible. 2 weeks ago, you may be able to see in the distance those 2 boats washed on shore because of the record level storm surge. The storm surge expected to climb even higher with Milton.
So for those of you that were punched by Hurricane Helene, this is going to be a knockout. At that level, you're not just talking about the threat of drowning. We're talking about buildings, homes, being wiped off of their foundations. That is unsurvivable.
Flooding expected to be catastrophic, and everyone is heeding the warnings. The barrier islands are vacant right now. More than 8,000 people seeking shelter at Pinellas County emergency shelters, and we have a link to all of those locations on our website. Reporting live in Pinellas County, Lenny Supal, 8 on your side.
All right, Lenny, thank you so much. Our continuing coverage of Hurricane Milton continues after the break.
Back here with you on stream, folks. JB here with you as we tap into our broadcast coverage on WFLA News Channel 8, featuring, of course, the Max Fender Weather Team. Our reporters will get you back there momentarily. The reason that we're tapping into the signal so much is because of the tornado warnings. Based on basically what we're hearing here, and you heard it there from Ed Bloodsworth, our former meteorologist here at WFLA in Tampa, and now current chief meteorologist at Mobile's WKRG News 5, that the increase for tornado potential is occurring now. So there's the potential for spin-up tornadoes really in that southeastern quadrant of the storm. So areas in South Florida are experiencing, and we saw there at least 1 confirmed tornado on the ground, the potential for more spin-up tornadoes all the way down the coast and really even inland. I think inland is going to be some of the areas that are going to see the possibility of spin-up tornadoes, as well as water spouts washing up on shore. So tornadoes are always a concern when they occur during a storm of this size. Spin-up tornadoes can be relatively weak, oftentimes relatively weak, EF0, EF1 tornadoes, but they're unpredictable in many respects and, of course, can do a whole lot of damage if it pinpoints any ability possible to get an alert on your phone, because the moment that a tornado warning is issued, that means, of course, that you should shelter in place, go to an interior room of your home and ride out that tornado warning, because you could have a potential spin up tornado on the ground in your location. So it's really important for us to remind our audience of that. Let's pay attention to Wobble Tracker. Let's check in on Wobble Tracker and show the current movement of the storm. And look, we were talking about the snaking effect that was going on, but right now, the Wobble Tracker and Hurricane Milton, look, the storm appears to be right on track. Not deviating off that line very much. Now, there is some eye wall deterioration on the southwest section of the storm. However, the actual center of that eye appears to be right on track, which could mean devastating impacts, of course, for that stretch of beach between Sarasota and Naples. We're getting closer, of course, to really, feeling the impacts here in Tampa itself. Right now, Naples, Fort Myers, Sarasota getting lashed with outer bands from Milton. Let's get you back to our coverage on WFLA News Channel 8.
Through the Gulf of Mexico toward our coast, it is expected to make landfall possibly in the Sarasota Manatee area overnight. So we'll check in with Lee and Amanda in just a minute on the very latest track there with Milton. Now, on the heels of flooding damage from Hurricane Helene just 2 weeks ago, Hillsborough County is braced for what Hurricane Milton will bring. And
on your side, Shannon Bacon joins us now live from Tampa. I know some big concerns in Hillsborough County, Shannon, for rain and wind tonight.
There are, Chris and Avery, and that is why Hillsborough County officials have now decided to open up 3 additional shelters, and they are urging people who are in low-lying areas and mobile homes to evacuate now. Hillsborough County is already seeing some pockets of rain here and there, and I went to South Tampa's West Shore area earlier today, and I was pleased to see that many homeowners who flooded during Hurricane Helene have boarded up, and they appear to have evacuated. Saturated streets, though, are already taking on a lot of water, and there is a fear that even without storm surge, there could be flooding. Hillsborough County Fire Rescue tells me that they have received last night 4 utility vehicles that they will use to help people with water rescues.
The storm, it's going to be impactful. It's going to create a lot of anxiety, a lot of damage to our community. But Hillsborough County Fire Rescue stands ready. We have 12 tactical search and rescue teams. We have 8 rapid needs assessment teams, and we brought in 2 shifts to serve the citizens.
And just moments ago, Tampa police announced that they have been going door to door in South Tampa trying to convince people who decided to stay to leave. They say that they did convince a woman who was planning to ride out the storm. She had a raft with her. They convinced her finally to leave. They fear that there are many other people out there like that. So if that is you, now is the time to evacuate. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Shannon. We'll take a look here. FDOT traffic cams caught a very large tornado on the ground. This is near I-75 in South Florida, near Alligator Alley in Broward County. National Weather Service describing this as a dangerous tornado. It did cross the interstate at one point, but so far as we know, did not appear to impact any populated areas down there. That's a very large tornado, though, Lee, compared to what we're used to seeing in our state.
Actually seen multiple tornadoes like that down in southeast Florida. Just huge wedge tornadoes that look like we get in the plains rather than with a tropical system. So we are currently under a tornado warning for Highlands County. And I just kind of wanted to show you a wide view first. This is the eye of Milton. So this is certainly associated with it. You can see those rain bands wrapping around that kind of feed into the storm. And embedded in some of those rain bands, we do have, unfortunately, some tornadoes. So I'm going to, again, this is the area coming out of Clewiston, right off of Lake Okeechobee, where we've had these purple boxes. That means confirmed tornadoes on the ground and now moving north into Highlands County. And this is getting very close to Lake Placid. It's actually just to the east of Lake Placid. Here's another one coming out of Charlotte and Lee County. It's a tornado warning that the National Hurricane Center has just recently started giving it a different designation, that this is a confirmed tornado on the ground, either seen by someone or the debris being seen on radar as picked up and lofted into the air. So what I'm going to do do now is zoom a little bit closer into Highlands County. I'll stop this from going forward because I do want to show you that where we find the rotation. So what we'll do is we'll use what we call storm relative velocity. Thankfully, it doesn't look quite as intense, but again, this is a cell that has a history of being on the ground and doing damage. This one too, not yet. Again, this has actually just been added to Highlands County as a tornado warning. Look how bright that green and that red are together. When they are next to each other, it's air going in one direction right next to air going in the opposite direction, and in between that is when you get that spin. And not only is it spinning in the upper levels of the atmosphere, it's spinning all the way down to the ground and causing rotation and damage on the ground. So again, here's State Road 70. There's Lake Placid. So this is the area that we're concerned about here. This is the area right in the corner of Highlands County. There's Lake Okeechobee, just to give you a little bit more of a locator here, because this is rural, but people live here, and this is a very scary time for them. It's very scary for all of us. We already knew that there was a major hurricane making landfall. This is now an added threat that we're getting with this storm. So Highlands County, east of Lake Placid. I'll go a little bit farther in to see if we can pick up on some streets for you, because again, places like okay, so State Road 70, also known as Main Street. So it's north of that. Here's Lake Placid, there's Holmes Avenue, there's Highland Avenue. So this area south of Womble Avenue, Womble Road there, we'll go down south from there. So this is Womble Road here. There's Sellers Road, there's Gould Road, there's Perry Road. This is where we're seeing another area of rotation. So unfortunately for these areas in southeastern Highlands County, again, I've kind of zoomed it in a little too much so that if you don't know where this location is, there's Lake Okeechobee, there's Lake Placid, there's Sebring. So this area is going to be drifting to the north. Actually, they've already extended that tornado warning because this cell is holding together. Same thing for the one that's coming out now just into Highlands County. So we're going to bring in meteorologist Amanda Holly now. She can come over you know, this is the first thing we saw. We saw the tornado warnings, but the pictures that we saw on social media, just astounding.
We've only been showing you the one coming from the National Weather Service, one of those FDOT cameras down there. And it was a very skinny, long tornado, but it has grown into a very large wedge tornado. And what that means is a lot of our area doesn't really know what a wedge tornado is unless you're from the plains, but a wedge tornado is something that is a very large expanse. It covers a very large area from the sky down to the ground, as opposed to just a skinny air of rotating air here. And we are looking at this area of rotation that is now solidly into Highlands County, just to the east of Lake Placid. You can see what we call the signature, the tornado signature, those bright the tornado signature, those bright greens, the bright reds, the signature is there for that to possibly be on the ground. So mobile homes in this situation, not safe to be in because of those really strong winds. We also are keeping an eye on this confirmed tornado warning. Again, the purple is confirmed down just south of Sarasota County. So this rotation right here is actually embedded within a very strong outer rain band. So you're certainly not going to be able to see this one because of the torrential rain that it is going to be surrounded by. That outer rain band, very, very gusty winds, and we're really seeing those tropical rains adding up on those rainfall totals that we've already seen down in Sarasota and Manatee County. We've gotten reports that downtown Sarasota, obviously, we know it floods very easily, but the roads were flooded earlier this morning, and now we're really starting to see those rainfall rates go up with that heavy band coming in. So we're getting the heavy rain and we're getting the strong winds with this band. Lee's showing you some rainfall totals right now, and this is just within the last 12 hours. The brighter yellows, even some brief oranges right along the coast there, upwards of almost 3, almost 4 inches being reported and estimated by radar at this point. So again, we talked about the flooding threat with coastal storm surge, but we are going to see a flooding threat with rainfall as well, as these rainfall totals really start to add up at this point. So We are keeping an eye on that tornado warning, those couple tornado warnings down south in Highlands County. It is well outside of the center of the storm where we're seeing those tornado warnings. The center of the storm still over 100 miles from Tampa, but you can see how far that rain shield extends. But one of the threats we'll keep an eye on is that tornado watch. Again, the watch covers most of our counties because the conditions are favorable. It's the warning when that is issued for your area that you will want to be in an interior room of your house. But the conditions are favorable there for pretty much our entire area. Wanted to go county by county here to kind of give you an idea of what to expect as we go into the overnight hours. Sarasota and Manatee County going to see that direct landfall tonight, and you are going to see some of the stronger wind gusts as well. Possibly 125-mile-per-hour sustained winds with higher gusts along the immediate coastline. The storm surge is going to be highest in Sarasota Bay,
25-mile-per-hour
Inglewood,
sustained
Venice,
winds
with higher
southward.
gusts. That tornado threat is there. Rainfall totals, I'm looking about 4 to 8 inches in Sarasota and Manatee County. That rainfall total is going to be much higher farther to the north. So just giving you an idea, specifically Sarasota and Manatee County, what to expect as we go through the overnight hours. 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. This is what you can prepare yourself for. Unfortunately, it is going to be an overnight event for you, and it is going to be loud with those strong winds near the center of the storm at landfall. There will be a high wind warning that will be issued as those strongest winds are coming on shore to give you a heads up to kind of get into your safe place. That's where you'll want to ride out that eye wall of the storm. In between the strongest winds of the storm, it's called an eye, and we haven't had one of those pass through our area in a very, very long time, but it's actually calm inside the eye. So the winds are going to be really, really strong. Then it's going to get calm and actually quiet. And then on the backside, those winds are going to pick up again. But during that time, Lee, we say stay in an interior room of your house, certainly not in a mobile home. And you want to have something to protect yourself. Stay away from your windows. Hopefully they're boarded up, but certainly have something to protect yourself and you and your family while those strongest winds are passing.
Yeah. And our winds are starting to already reach tropical storm force. And we always tell you, you need to be where you are going to ride out this storm when the tropical storm force winds occur. So right now, 37-mile-per-hour sustained winds in St. Pete, but gusting up to 47, gusting to 30 in Tampa, gusting to 33 in Brooksville, and 43 in Sarasota. So the noon update from the National Hurricane Center, keeping this a Category 4 storm, keeping it with 145-mile-per-hour winds, and still seeing now a relatively well-formed storm. We're still getting that drier air on the western side of it. So when we look at that forecast cone, again, it just came in at 11 o'clock this morning. It is starting to really zero in on that landfall somewhere along the Manatee-Sarasota coastline. This forecast does weaken it to a Category 3 hurricane before making landfall. And it sped up the timing a little bit. Now we're looking at maybe at 11 p.m. to midnight, 1 o'clock, as opposed to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. By 8 a.m., it's still a Category 1 hurricane on land before it finally heads out into the Atlantic. So we get a little quicker zoom here, keeping Tampa now basically out of the cone. Naples still, Sarasota, Northport in the cone, and certainly so is Bradenton. And then it's going to track right through portions like inland Manatee, Polk County. That's what a lot of the computer models are now really coming into agreement. Maybe not on the specific cities and areas where we're going to see a landfall, but the general location through Manatee and Sarasota counties. As it tracks through, the high risk of 4 out of 4 on our potential for flooding rain across a lot of our area, because wherever Milton tracks across the state, that northern spot of it, there's the forecast track. There's going to be this swath where you could see 18 inches of rainfall in 24 hours. And it could be a pretty significant part of this area that sees 12 to 18 inches of rain. So flooding is going to be a concern with flash flooding. We're obviously going to have a concern with the storm surge as it comes on shore. But I just want to let people know places like Citrus, Hernando, Pasco, northern Pinellas, northern Hillsborough, where you're not going to get the surge, there is going to be still a flooding threat for today. So we're going to send it back to Avery and Chris now. There's a lot of threats with this storm. We are currently under this tornado warning that goes for in Highlands County, and we're going to keep a very close eye on that because, again, it has had a history of producing one of the biggest tornadoes I know I've ever seen, even close to our area.
But the pictures are just astoundingly. Thank you. We'll check back in with you guys in just a minute.
All right, taking a live look here at the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, which is now closed in both directions. FHP closing this bridge about an hour or so ago. They close the bridges across the Bay Area when the winds hit about 45 miles per hour or when they deem it's too dangerous to drive over the bridges. Right now, our other area bridges are open, but we have been told repeatedly by officials across the area that those bridges will, at some point, close this afternoon. We're just waiting at this point for them to make that call here later today. Now, as the storm approaches, communities are taking extra precautions now to make sure everybody stays safe during Milton. Shelters are open all across the area for evacuees.
8 on your sides, Brianda Villegas is at one of those shelters in Pasco County right now. Hi, Brianda.
Hi, Chris, Avery. So we're at Sun Lake High School right now. This is in Land O'Lakes. As the rain and the wind starts to pick up, you can see people, checking in with law enforcement there. Every single person that comes through the shelter has to get their bags checked before they can walk inside. So Sun Lake High School, it's just one of 5 general population shelters open in the county. Throughout the morning, we've seen residents checking into these shelters along with their pets, a lot of them from zones A, B, C, a lot of people from mobile homes, which are all under mandatory evacuation orders in the county. We actually spoke to a couple from Newport Richey who lives in Zone A, and they say they stayed during Helene and ended up with 3.5 feet of water inside their home. What's going through your head right now? Scary.
Not a lot. It's hard to cut.
And I'm told that there is still a lot of room here for people to come to Sun Lake High School as a shelter. But keep in mind, if you do want to bring your pets, you have to bring a crate and make sure you bring bedding, something to sleep on. They will be providing food 3 times a day, but bring some snacks, anything to keep your family occupied if you're going to go to one of these shelters. For now, I'll send it back to you.
Rhonda, thank you. Now, Sarasota County, as we've been mentioning, could be one of the areas hardest hit by this hurricane.
Yeah, and conditions there, they are very quickly deteriorating right now. 8 on your sides, Allison Henning live for us in Sarasota County with an update on what it's looking like right now.
Hey guys, yeah, certainly conditions out here are deteriorating. My hair is not blowing in the wind right now because we're actually protected by this gas station building that's all boarded up here. We're along US 41, right across the street from Sarasota Memorial Hospital. The winds, we're certainly starting to feel some of those bands come through. We're kind of in a lull right now, but we have seen the wind and rain really just pushing through this area. When we were on the road heading here, there were some limbs in the roadway along US 41. So again, conditions are deteriorating. We did talk to some people who were gassing up at one of the only gas stations that we found open in this area. It was along US 41, or along Clark Road, I should say. A lot of the people there were making their final preparations before those hurricane force winds reached this area. Some people told us they did decide to evacuate. And of course, with this storm, depending on where people live, everyone has kind of different concerns. For people along the coast, of course, it's most certainly the storm surge. For other folks, they expressed a lot of concern about the grounds being so saturated right now.
We're worried about trees coming down. I'm really concerned about the winds that are going to be hitting us. I think that's our biggest fear right now.
And if you live in the Sarasota County area and you are in evacuation levels A, B, or C, county officials, they want you to know that your window to safely evacuate your homes is closing very quickly. Like I mentioned, the conditions out here are deteriorating quickly. Pretty soon it's not going to be safe for folks to be out on the road. In fact, people really at this point should not be out on the roadways. I do want to mention that there are 10 evacuation centers open to the public still. At a certain point, they are going to be closing the doors once conditions are unsafe. Taylor Ranch Elementary School, that was the 11th shelter. It is no longer available as a shelter. The nearest shelter to that is open to the public is Heron Creek Middle School. So far, I am told more than 4,000 people across the county have checked in to those 11 different shelters. We have all the details for you on WFLA.com. And again, county officials, they want you to know your window is closing. So if you're in one of those zones, you do need to evacuate now. Guys.
4,000 people. That's amazing that they're all heeding the warning just like they are supposed to be doing.
That's right. Now in Hillsborough County, crews made a massive effort this morning to secure storm debris that was left over from Hurricane Helene, but they have run out of time to do this.
That's right. Melissa Marino joining us now live from the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater in Tampa, where that big pile of debris sits just off I-4 there, Melissa.
Yeah, that's right. And kind of eerie, you guys. We have been talking and showing all morning all the trucks that have been here dumping off the debris. Well, now the site is locked up. It looks like it is now closed off. But right here, the fairgrounds, it's been turned into basically a landfill. You can see just how big that pile of debris is. But again, those gates now locked up, the site now quiet. We have learned the debris is actually from Pinellas County. It's an agreement between the state and the county due to issues with the landfill there being full. This became a 24/7 operation. You can see video from earlier this morning, all the dump trucks that were working to get all the debris. It's all the stuff that we've been seeing in the communities like Shore Acres, the coastal areas. They were hit very hard by storm surge. The big concern is with the potential hurricane force winds hitting this area. This could all turn into projectiles and cause some major damage. That's why the governor then launched this effort starting over the weekend.
Those debris missions need to be around the clock. You are going to save, you could potentially save lives because this debris can fly and hit people, but certainly you are going to have less damage if you get that debris off.
And back out here live, just behind that big massive pile, that's the interstate there. That's I-4. It's literally just a few hundred feet. You can see it if you're driving on the interstate. So a concern would be if that debris, if the winds are strong enough, depending on what the debris is, if it could go onto the interstate. Only time will tell. But I know a lot of folks happy that at least a significant amount of that stuff has gotten out of the neighborhoods, and at least the homes there are protected. Reporting live, I'm Melissa Marino, 8 on your side.
All right, thank you, Melissa. We do want to talk right now a little bit about the timing of the storm, because I know what they've been predicting versus what might actually happen is not exactly in line.
Well, yeah, it has picked up forward speed. It's moving northeast now at 17 miles per hour. And Amanda, we were estimating it's a little over 100 miles from our coastline right now.
Yeah, so that would lead to about 6 hours before landfall right now. And that's, when the center of the storm comes ashore. The worst of the winds are going to come ashore right before then in the eye wall. If you think back to the past couple of days, we've actually seen quite a bit of fluctuation with the landfall. The National Hurricane Center has bumped it up. They've pushed it back. So that's been something that they've been playing with and trying to figure out, fine-tune. But right now, yeah, it's 100 miles off our coast, 100 miles off the coast of Sarasota and Manatee.
And a faster approach, we were just talking, there's some pros and cons to both of it. Because if it hits earlier, then obviously it's a bit lighter outside for folks.
But unfortunately, it would have less time to weaken. It does look like the storm is weakening right now. We're seeing that pressure come up a little bit. Still an extraordinarily dangerous Category 4 storm. So if it comes ashore faster, that's less time for it to weaken even more.
And then we still have those tornado warnings. I mean, coming out of Lake Okeechobee and Clewiston, which is out of our area, but that same cell rolled into places like Lake Placid, southeastern Highlands County. I know we've been kind of covering that a good amount because rarely do we see such a confirmed tornado that stays on the ground for so long. So it's always a possibility with a landfalling tropical system. We have one rain band right now. You heard all of our reporters say, yep, it is coming down. That is a rain band with torrential rain, and it's going to happen off and on for the rest of the day.
And with that being said, I mean, if you're not in where you're going to ride out the storm right now, you need to get there right now.
Right, and speaking to that, we have just gotten word a few moments ago. We were talking about the bridges, other bridges closing. They are all now closed. So Howard Franklin, again, the Courtney Campbell, and then obviously the Sunshine Skyway had already closed. There's some alerts there to one of those. So keep that in mind at this point, that the FHP has deemed that the bridges now are impassable, likely because I'm assuming the winds are starting to pick up, so they don't want people traveling this. That is going to change, could change your plans if you're trying to get somewhere at this last minute.
That emergency alert that just came through with the emergency, the Milton effects are expected soon. Find shelter right now.
All right. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more coverage after this.
All right, here with you and Chief Meteorologist Jeff Berardelli, and we have had an interesting conversation, Jeff, over the last few minutes. Folks, that was WFLA's broadcast coverage. We're going to be jumping back and forth between tracking the tropics and our broadcast coverage, especially when we have tornado warnings, because a lot of weather computers that are geared toward tornado warning coverage are downstairs in our broadcast studio. So when tornado warnings pop up, especially in our coverage area, we're going to be going to them quite a bit. Let's bring up Wobble Tracker first, Jeff, and let's talk about this. Right now, I mean, the eye is pretty much near the center of that line.
We can split hairs. I think, it may be slightly north of the line. But best I can tell, it seems to be behaving at the moment. But notice, JB, it has to turn right now. It has to turn within the next 1 to 2 hours. And if it keeps going in the direction that it has been going, it will come into Tampa Bay.
Do you have the lav mic? I'm curious if you have the lav mic. Because no, if you don't, because
no, I have it over there. Why is this mic not good?
No. I was hoping that we could do a little show and tell, and you could talk about the turn.
The lav mic's over here. You want me to turn it on?
Yeah, let's turn it on and let's see if we can.
Do I get paid extra for this?
You do. Okay. Bonus, a Baradelli bonus.
Oh,
you see what I did
Baradelli
there?
bonus is the best bonus.
Yeah. You see
all right,
what
so
I
I'm
did
going to
there?
unplug. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So let's here, because I have a shot here, Jeff, that I'll show you, and you can actually talk about the turn with Wobble Tracker. Everybody bear in
Where's
mind?
the camera?
Okay. So
is that it?
Yes, there it is.
Okay. Okay. So here's the deal. This line right here, that's the past track, okay? That is supposed to be the future track, so it's got to turn. This is what our computer models say, that it is going to turn. But you can clearly see that the eye wall is now past the location that it was, and it's just to the north of the line, maybe by a little. That's splitting hairs. So we don't know if it's wobbling north or if it's heading further north before it makes the turn. But picture this. If the storm gets up here before turning, then watch. Right in the Tampa Bay. And it really is a 20-mile difference between where the center is right now, which is right about there, and if it's right there. So that's about 20, 30 miles, okay? So we have another 2 hours. If it keeps going in the direction it was going in, it'll get to here or here, and then let's follow that track directly in, and it takes it into Tampa Bay. We still think, and the vast majority of our models say it's going in south of Tampa Bay, just to let you know. And I think it would be hard for the storm to go far enough north for the full force of the surge to get into the bay. Like it would have to go up here, so up there, and then come in to St. Pete Beach or Madeira Beach. Then the westerly flow on the south end of the storm would push all the water right into the bay. So, but it would have to get to like St. Pete Beach. It couldn't just go over the Sunshine Skyway, because if it's going over the Sunshine Skyway, then the westerly winds are right over Anna Maria and Longboat Key. Okay, so you want me to sit back down now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Feel free to, you can keep that on if you'd like. Okay. I'll just bring your mic levels down. We'll come back here in the stream center, and I will also want to talk. This is really actually fascinating. We keep talking about an overnight landfall, based on some math that you've been doing over the last few minutes. You don't think we're talking about a 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. landfall?
No, I think that this is going to be 8 p.m. or before. I do.
8 p.m. That's a huge difference.
It is. It's a big difference, but it's moving a little faster. And I can tell you exactly how far it is. It's about 110 miles to the southwest of Bradenton. If it comes in Bradenton, it's moving at 17 miles an hour. You do the math. It turns out it's about 7 hours or a little less. So 7 hours from 1 p.m., let's be generous, is 8 p.m. But it actually could cross before then. But so let's say the eye of the storm comes across around 8 p.m. And that's, by the way, the official forecast now. You can kind of see right there. It's just like 9. I think they have official landfall at 9 p.m. But, I mean, we're splitting hairs here. The eye wall is going to move on shore probably at 5, 6. That's when the worst of the conditions will start to happen. And you can see we're already in what is, the outer bands, which are very strong and have a lot of tornadoes, which, you've been watching on the stream here with Amanda and Lee taking care of our tornado coverage right now. But one of these outer bands is very heavy, and along the coast, we've already seen about 4.5 inches of rain in places like, Venice in Manatee County. In fact, I'm looking at it right now on my phone. I'll tell you exactly. There's been a lot of rain already, and that's just the beginning.
A new camera to show here, just coming in. Let's get to the southernmost point in the United States.
All right.
So this is Key West, and just like you would expect, significant waves washing up on shore. Good to see that nobody is standing out there at present. Some cars driving by, though. This is, again, the southernmost tip of Florida, the southernmost tip of the continental U.S.
And we also have a camera in Englewood, right? It's weather for something 14, News 14, I think. Colleen
bring
said.
that up.
So it's an Earth cam from Englewood. I think Colleen said it was News 14.
Let's hot punch it in and hope it's there.
Okay.
News 14 up. Oh yeah, there it is.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that should be, from what I understand, Englewood. We're not going to have, I don't think, JB, our camera out of the Trade Winds, obviously, resort in St. Pete Beach because of Helene. It really is, so unfortunate that, just 10 or more days ago, 12 days ago, Helene came roaring ashore, produced the worst surge that we've seen in about 100 years. And here we are again. Some parts of our area are going to see the worst surge they've seen in over 100 years. Again, just to reiterate, we think the worst of the impacts for surge are going to be south of Tampa Bay. So mostly the coastline of especially very southern Manatee County through Sarasota County. And but north of the storm, very, very heavy rain. If you look on the radar right now, you can see wobble tracker there. You can clearly see that, the north side of the storm has the heaviest rain. The south side and the east side doesn't have as much. So that rain that you see moving across Sarasota and headed towards Clearwater right now, that's going to be stuck over Clearwater for 12 hours. 12 hours of 2-inch rainfall rates. Our model last night, and the newest model doesn't have this, but our model last night had 18 to 24 inches of rain in northern Pinellas and northern Hillsborough. Now the model's closer to 18. But I mean, that means there's going to be water in your home probably if you're on a street that floods. And so I'll say it again to you. You'll want to lift your belongings, anything that is valuable to you, and put it up on the counter if in fact you have stuff that you need to ride. And same thing with the garage too. By the way, tornado warning just came out in DeSoto County, but that is just south of our viewing area. However, that's going to be moving north as well. And next stop for that will be Hardy County, and then eventually it's going to be.
Why am I getting the feeling our coverage area, the Tampa Bay region, is about to just get a swath of tornado warnings?
Well, we are because they're just right now there's
south.
6. There's 2 of them in our viewing area in Highlands County. There's 2 of them from DeSoto County south. There's another one around Marco Island south of that. And then there's another one east of that near Lake Okeechobee. They're all moving north. So you're right. You get the feeling because it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So Highlands County, we've been, of course, updating folks on doubledefinitely.com. But if you are in an area where there is a tornado warning issued, of course, get to an interior room of your home. Take care of you and your loved ones. Do your very best to ride it out. And a lot of folks will be huddled in those interior rooms with their cell phones. Perhaps you're watching us. Please do the very best to protect yourself and your family as you ride out the tornado warnings that are coming through really the Southwest Florida into the Tampa Bay region.
And we're here with you. We're part of your community. We're going through the exact same stuff. We have to deal with the things that you have to deal with your family. We deal with them with our family. We have to protect our family. We're concerned about that. We're concerned about our property. So we are in exactly the same boat you are. And we're just riding out the storm together. But I promise that as long as you do what we tell you to do, you're going to be safe. I really mean that. We know what you need to do. So let me just go through a couple things. If a tornado comes over your home, just get into an interior room, get away from a window. And you know what? In a worst case scenario, because some of these tornadoes may be strong, get a mattress and pull it over your head. Just in case things start to fly or your structure is compromised. Best thing to do, remember, get a mattress, pull it over your head. Or you can go under the bed, but just watch out because, of course, that comes crashing down. Not the best idea. So again, just pulling the mattress off the bed, getting under the mattress will help you. And we're going to give you advice as we go along during this storm. You just want to be away from windows. That's the best way to protect yourself. A bathroom or a closet. Worst case scenario, get in the bathtub or, again, under a mattress. Those are the ways that you protect yourself during storms. JB, I said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again today. This is not a Hurricane Andrew that just mows down whole neighborhoods. That is not going to happen. The winds are weakening right now. We got another tornado warning. The winds are weakening. They will continue to do so. It's going to come onshore with a lot of force. It's going to compromise roofs. It's going to cause some, I think some structural damage, but it's not going to mow down your house. There's a difference between this storm and Hurricane Michael and Hurricane Andrew. This is going to be borderline Cat 3, Cat 4, but it's going to be weakening at landfall, which means it'll have gusts to 120 along the coast, gusts to about 100 inland, and that's going to do some damage. It's going to bring trees down, but in most cases, unless you have a mobile home or an older home that's not built well, it's not going to just demolish your home, okay? Because that happens in hurricanes sometimes, but it takes like a strong Cat 4 or 5 to do that.
All right, so
tornado warning for a new one for Highlands County, JB.
Highlands County tornado warnings again. We are monitoring the tornado warnings as they come in. I want to point out something, folks. This is really a vital tool for us to document what is happening in real time across the peninsula, and we'll bring up this graphic. WFLA.com/report it. We're no longer using it for video questions. Today, it transitions to our weather documentation tool. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody's got a camera on those phones for the most part, and can be obviously that can be used to snap weather pictures, videos, damage reports from down power lines, down trees, flooded areas. We want you to, of course, be as safe as possible. That is the most paramount thing. I can't begin to describe how much I want everyone to make sure that I am making it clear that this tool is to be used responsibly. Do not shoot weather photos and videos if you're compromising your own safety. It's more of a really an aftermath sort of thing, especially in the days ahead as we get weather report videos and photos coming in. We'll be able to showcase them here on stream. And Jeff, we've actually had a few coming in already. You ready to see what we've got? Because we're talking about tornado warnings. Well, Report It is being used to capture some of these tornadoes. Now, we're only going to show photos and videos that people have taken where this has been done as safely as possible and from a considerable distance. But check this out on WFLA.com/report it. We'll take this full screen here. And actually what I want to do, Jeff, there is some audio here.
Okay.
This is coming in from Sergio.
Yeah.
It looks like Alligator Alley. I mean, it doesn't say
there was a tornado in Alligator Alley. I've seen it.
So let's look at this, folks. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring up the audio and just kind of listen into Sergio's video and see if he's describing anything or if we're just hearing whipping winds. I really haven't heard this yet, so let's bring it up and check in.
Yeah, you can see it right there. And I think that probably is Alligator Alley, although it's impossible to know.
You can see that Sergio's clearly riding shotgun. We of course, made it clear that we would not be showing driving photos and videos. But he sent this in. It says, video of tornado forming around 11 o'clock this morning.
Rebecca is here, by the way. Meteorologist Rebecca Barry has now joined us in the Weather Center. We have the whole team here, JB, watching stuff very closely. Listen, I just want to say something for the folks in Placid Lakes and Sylvan Shores and pretty soon Sebring. This is a pretty strong circulation that's heading your way. So I would be in an interior room. If you're watching from Sebring or Placid Lakes or Sylvan Shores, the circulation's right on top of Placid Lakes and Sylvan Shores right now. But next stop for this circulation is going to be over Sebring and Avon Park. So if you're watching from there, be careful. Actually, the storm east of that's even stronger, although that is heading into an unpopulated part of Polk County right now. But, you know, these are going to be moving up, JB, over the next couple hours, so expect multiple tornado warnings because we're already entering our southern counties, and they're going to push straight across Polk County, probably Manatee County, and maybe eventually into Hillsborough and Pinellas County as well. Although Pinellas County, a little less of a chance just simply because it's a little closer to the storm.
And here's a screenshot that was captured by Yael sending this in. And there's the tornado that we're talking about, or one of the tornadoes
I think that's the Alligator Alley one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is that the same one that Sergio was just capturing?
I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to tell. But there was, the National Weather Service posted this photo on their, I think one of their employees got it crossing Alligator Alley. They posted it on their Twitter page or X page if you'd like, JB.
Yep. We'll monitor, of course, WFLA.com/report it. If you do send in anything, make sure it's captured safely and responsibly. Jeff, if you're looking that way,
I'm looking at the wobble tracker.
I know what you're looking at. So let's.
It looks to be turning. It looks like the last frame, JB.
Look at that.
So let's get it up on screen so people can see.
I see it too.
Do you want me to go over there and talk about it?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. All right. I still have the mic on, so we should be good. All right, so folks, this storm needed to turn right now, and just the last frame here, watch this, just a little jolt to the east. So I think it's finally beginning to make that turn. Last thing we needed was this to go about that far north and then make the turn, because then it puts it right through Tampa Bay. But it seems like it's just making the turn right now, and most of our computer models have said it would. It may be just slightly north. The center may be slightly north of where the National Hurricane Center anticipated it by a couple of miles. It shouldn't make that much of a difference. Let's see if this turn continues and it continues to move northeast like that and follow the line, or if it decides to kind of veer off and head a little further north before east. But I can, and I think you'll probably see right there, it kind of just all of a sudden juts to the east a little bit. So that could be, that's exactly what we were waiting for. And I think it may be coming to fruition. We're going to have to follow this all the way through, because obviously, even if the storm is here, a wobble 20 miles north puts it in Tampa Bay. So we're going to be watching the wobble tracker the whole time. But I think